On this special episode of Supercars Talk, it's time to go through my predictions for season 2022. Starting off, a quick disclaimer, I am filming this before all of the 2022 liveries have been released and the testing has been done. So, really, testing times have been nothing these days. But I won't be referring to anything that's happened in testing because of that. But basically, I'm going to run through the field in reverse order and what I think of people and where I think they're likely to end up this year. Because I'm running this in reverse pit lane order, Blanchards are up first. This is an interesting one. It is probably going to be a bit of an advantage for them in the long run, having the boom to themselves. A little bit of a disadvantage at the start because they're obviously not going to have that Tickford assistance there in the pit stops. But, you know, they can control their own destiny and they don't have to worry about anyone else. So that will help Tim Slade in the long run. This is a difficult one. They've got some good people there. It's just going to be a difficult one. I think, expecting mid-pack, I can see podiums from them, but also I think there's going to be weekends where they're just going to be lost and not knowing where to go. Separating that engine package, going away from the Tickford engine package to the DJR kind of engine package, that will then also make it, because there is differences between them surprisingly, so that will kind of affect the data. He's going to end up mid-pack by the end of the season. I think if they can crack into the top 10 overall, that would be a very high achievement for this team. Premier Racing up next. If these guys don't finish last and second last in the championship, they've done a good job. It's always been hard to judge, Pither and Jacobson because of the questions of equipment that they've been in over the years, and they've never really, I suppose, had a proper kind of run at it. So, the team, it's all coming together so late. I don't think it's like a full Triple Eight helping package. I'm not sure who the engineers are at the moment. They've got a lot of work to do, so I can't see them beating any of the established stars. Matt Stone Racing. I'm predicting these guys to be the surprise package of the year. They had some flashes of brilliance last year with, especially Zane Goddard, some of his qualifying performances. I'm expecting a lot. Jack LeBrock has been one of those ones that's been a bit questionable with the equipment. When the equipment's been there, he hasn't looked too bad against teammates when he's had them. And Todd Hazelwood, it was difficult. I think Brad Jones Racing could have been a bit more of a one-car team than what it looks like. And then obviously he was running at Matt Stone Racing in a single-car effort previously. They've bolstered, some of their engineering lineup and that. They've got good money now. They've got 2 paid drivers. Things are looking up and up. Having said that, though, if they can one car in the top 15 and, kind of around that 15th position in the championship, I think they've probably done a pretty good job. Will we see them on the podium? Probably not. I think we might see a couple of top 5s out of them during the year, though. But I think we'll just see steady increases from this team over the next few years. I don't think we're going to see, they're not going to go out and win races and challenge for the championship. But I think considering where they have been, if they can finish around that 15th and, 13th to 17th in the championship, that is a step forward for them. Grove Racing. Probably not going to be a popular opinion, this one, but I think they're going to go backwards this year. I think in the long term, they could definitely turn the whole thing around. I'm not holding up, Lee Holdsworth comes out and says, I'm going to finish in the top 10 of the championship. Well, how many times did you do that before? Is this equipment as good as what you might have had at certain other times during your career? Dave Reynolds has just been so hit and miss lately. If he turns it on, I mean, that guy, and if everything, all the ducks fall in line, he could finish top 5 in the championship. These guys are going to drop behind Matt Stone Racing, I think, in the championship. I can see them kind of battling around with, the premiers and the secondary. Brad Jones, not quite that bad, but, they're only going to be finishing ahead of them. I think the 15th to 20th in the championship is where these guys are going to be. Team 18. All the ingredients are there. It's never quite gelled for the results. Last year I said Winterbottom was past it and whatnot, and yeah, he was the better one out of the two. I think, if one of these guys can finish in the top 10, they've done a good job. Everything says that these guys should do better than what they do, but they don't at the end of the day. They've kind of generally disappointed me the whole way through. That's about all I got to say there. I think you're going to see them finish somewhere between 10th and 20th in the championship. On a good day, I mean, they could knock off a win, but also I can see them, qualifying right down the back and having a bad weekend as well, because, turn up at Bathurst and the power steering fails or a wheel falls off or something like that. They always just seem to, have trouble there for some reason, and they just go missing some weekends, and then some weekends they run right up the front. They're just the Dave Reynolds of teams. Brad Jones Racing, the team of two halves. Tickford seems to make a bit of a meal sometimes of running 4 cars, but these guys, it is definitely the A team and the B team. Sometimes the B team is with budget. Jack Smith and Macaulay Jones, expect them to be running 18th to 25th or whatever, somewhere around there. If they crack into that high teens, they've probably done a good job, those two. The other two, let's see if Jaime can take off where, Nick Percat left that car, and solid top 10s. I fully expect Jaime to be somewhere, probably not 5th, but somewhere 6th to 10th in the championship. And this will be a big year for Bryce Fullwood, whether he can prove, whether he deserves that seat or not. The first year at Walkinshaws, he looked pretty good. And then last year, he just got smashed all the way by Chaz Mostert. And I don't know. But yeah, this year's the year to prove if he can, get in there somewhere. A bit like what Todd Hazelwood was doing with Nick Percat, where, he wasn't quite at that top level, but, he was knocking on it. If he can be somewhere around that level of Jaime, maybe finish in that 10th to 15th in the championship, that will be a good, learning kind of year for Bryce, as much as, year 3 is still a learning year. It does take a few years to, get yourself right up in this championship. And obviously he's stepped away from that front running equipment now. So that's where I expect him. But I fully expect Jaime to come in and do a really good job. We could see him take another couple of wins this year, quite a few podiums. I expect him to do the job that Nick Percat's been doing there, and hurry on the big boys. Erebus Motorsport, were they the surprise package of last year? A lot of people were writing them off, but bringing in Will Brown and Brody Kostecki was a great thing. I expected Brody to kind of get on top of Will by the end of the year. I did think Will was going to ultimately beat him out in the championship, but Will just went from strength to strength all the way through the year, ultimately seeing him win a race there at Sydney Motorsport Park. I expect them to continue this upward trajectory. I think if they don't win, between them, if they don't win at least 2 races this year, they need to progress from that, one win from last year. They need to have at least 2 wins this year to keep progressing. I don't care if that's means 1 win each, or Brody wins 2 or Will wins 2. As long as overall as a team they have 2 wins this year, that will be a step up. I fully expect both of them to finish in the top 10 again, maybe slightly higher than what they were last year. I still don't think they're going to be top 5, but if they just move up that little bit, even if it's 7th and 8th instead of 9th and 10th, I think they were last year. So just, as long as we see a little bit of improvement there, that's all good. And I fully expect them to make that, that little bit of a step up from where they were last year. Walkinshaw and Andretti United. I'm expecting Chaz to challenge for the championship this year. And who's to say, Nick Percat couldn't take a few wins along the way. I think a big test for these guys will be the first round at Sydney Motorsport Park. If they can be competitive there, I think they'll continue on during the rest of the year. It was always hard with these guys when we kicked off in Adelaide because they'd have great results and they'd be nowhere at like the second round when we went to a more normal kind of circuit. I think if they can kick off strong at Sydney Motorsport Park, just continue on from what they were like at Bathurst, I can fully see even, Percat getting himself into that top 5 of the championship and maybe even challenging. I am really expecting anything less than a championship challenge now from Chaz will be a disappointment after the way they finished off last year. Tickford Racing. Yeah, okay, we got 4 cars here. Jake Kosecki's one. Waste. That's going to be the 4th one in the team. Just making up the numbers. Tom Randall. We could see him win a race. There's going to be weekends where he's going to be nowhere. A bit like the Erebus boys last year, although I think it's getting a little bit harder because it's getting, more and more people up the top there. I think if Tom finishes somewhere between 10th and 15th, that's where it's expecting. 12th? For some reason, I just think kind of 12th in the championship. I think we're going to, as I said, we could see a win out of him. I think we're going to see podiums, but I think he will be lost some weekends, and there'll probably be a bit of argy-bargy in that. So I can't quite see him cracking the top 10 the way it's going this year. Then James Courtney, the retirement tour. We see some flashes of the old Courtney every now and again, but he's a bit like the Team 18 boys. He goes a bit missing at times. If he somewhere between 10th and 15th in the championship. Cam Waters, though, I expect him to be in the hunt for the championship. I will be disappointed if he doesn't. Last year was a little bit but yeah, I fully expect this year him as one of the guys going for the championship. Dick Johnson Racing. Anton's had his year of learning, so yeah, let's go out and challenge for the championship this year. You've had enough time to get everything up to speed. My God, he was quick at Sydney Motorsport Park last year. We predicted, Will did do better than him overall in the championship, but yeah, there was some reliability that Will struggled a bit with reliability, but Anton probably had more of the unreliability last year. He definitely had more speed. He could come out all guns a-blazing at Sydney Motorsport Park and, clean sweep the weekend and then just, set himself up to continue for the rest of the year. I fully expect Anton to be challenging for the championship, and I don't think Will's probably going to be quite as strong this year because I think the other guys have stepped up a little bit, but I still think he'll be somewhere between that kind of 4th and 8th in the championship, but not. I can't see him fighting with the other guys I've predicted for the championship fight. And last but not least, we've got Triple Eight. Okay. I don't think these guys are a shoo-in for the Teams Championship. I actually think Walkinshaw could knock them off for the Teams Championship because I think they've probably, overall, they've got the strongest lineup. Maybe Dick Johnson Racing. But I actually think Walkinshaw's could win the Teams Championship because Brock is going to win races this year. He just, plain and simple, he has to. Yes, it is his rookie year, but he's in the best equipment. If Will Brown can go and win in Erebus last year, Brock has to. He has to have a win at least one win. Probably, I think 3 or 4 wins during the year is probably what's needed. But I think he's going to end up kind of in that back half of the top 10 overall, because there will be days where he's just lost. It's a rookie year, you know, he might qualify 15th or something like that. And there's going to be days where he's going banging on pole and, shock us all. Shane Van Gisbergen. He's going from strength to strength, the undoubtable team leader now, you know, and that's probably going to give him a bit of an uplift, as long as, he's at that point now where hopefully, you know, he doesn't need someone like Jamie next to him to really help him, you know, keep that level up. I'm sure he's got enough self-motivation and wanting to beat everybody else in the field as well. Fully expect him to go for a championship challenge. How can you not, after the year he had last year? He'll end up in the top 3 of the championship somewhere, probably winning it again, just because last year he was so strong. But I think there'll be a lot more fight in it this year. Than it won't be quite the same one-horse race we had last year. So that is my predictions for the championship. I don't just want to say Shane is going to win the championship and leave it at that. So I'm going to stick my money at the moment on Chaz going for the championship. That is putting my neck out there a little bit, because on paper, definitely Shane and Anton are probably looking better for it. But there's just Chaz was so fast at Bathurst last year. If they can keep that momentum, he will go and win the championship this year. So that's my prediction. Let me know down in the comments, do you agree or disagree with some of my predictions? It is very hard to try and put people, you know, so on some of them I've probably put a bit of a wide range of where I expect them to be. But it's difficult to know, and little things, you know, like a DNF here and there, you know, could really throw a spanner in the work of some of these guys this year, because it is pretty close there, and I think it's going to be a lot closer. It's all through the field than what it was last year. So there's my predictions for 2022. Now, if you've got this far into the video, well done. After filming and starting to edit it, I thought, why don't I take a chance here and actually try and put everybody, you know, in where I think they're going to finish in the championship, you know, put it out there, and then in 8 months' time or whatever, when the championship finishes, if I've done well, you know, I can do a review video of it and, you know, gloat on the internet about how good my predictions were. And if I haven't predicted so well, we'll just try and forget it. Hopefully everyone else forgets about it and never mention it again. But here, I think here, maybe there, depending on how I edit it together. But here is my list of, I've put everyone in position where I expect them to finish in the championship. So let's see how I go by the end of the year. And thanks for watching this far into the video. Well done. Until next time, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.